Welcome back to the EAM Crypto channel. It's been quite a day for all the markets, especially for crypto. Bitcoin's done something that it has not done in a very, very long time. We're going to cover all that right now. But more importantly, what's going to happen next? How do we play all this volatility? There is one chart that you've probably never seen that I'm going to show. We're going to talk about the earnings calls that just happened minutes ago with both Google and with Microsoft and see how that affected all the charts and how that affected Bitcoin and all the alts. We're going to go into the alts and we're going to take a look at all these different things. There is mystery abound. Not really sure what's going to happen next. All that we know for sure is that there's going to be a ton of volatility, and we're going to take a very, very close look at the charts because there's a couple things that I really want to take a look at. So let's get started. All right, so let's take a look at what put an end to the rally a bit. It could just be a pause or a slowdown, but what happened is that first and foremost, Google had earnings after the market closed, and as you can see right here, after hours it is down almost a little bit over 5.7%. Why is it down 5.7%? Well, the revenue estimate was low, and the earnings per share was much lower as well. So that's quite a big drop right there from the estimated $1.25 to 106. So obviously it got hammered pretty well. And then Microsoft let's see how it's doing now in the after hours. It's only down about 2%, but it's down. This one's pretty interesting because it was able to actually beat the earnings expectations with both revenue and earnings per share. Not by much, but by a little bit. Actually on the revenue by almost 2%. But yeah, it got hammered a bit too. So I was actually very surprised to see this. I expected this revenue and earnings per share to be well below expectations. So that was quite the surprise. So I was not expecting to see that. So that's kind of like what put a damper on things. And how did it affect Bitcoin? Well, let's take a look at Bitcoin. It finally crossed this huge downtrend, and that's been on for, it seems like, forever. So two things to note. The first one is this. Yep, it crossed it. Clearly it crossed it. But now comes the really important part. It's now going to treat what used to be support as resistance. So now it has to go back and test this as, what used to be resistance as support. So now it has to test it as support for the first time. So will it be able to hold its support? We will see. When will this happen? My guess it'll probably happen very soon. You have more earnings coming out tomorrow. Thursday is also a big day. Friday we have PCE. We have so much stuff coming. Some of it has to be bad, right? Because the macro is still so bad. So my guess is that we're going to go back and test this trend line at some point. Will it be later on today? Probably not. I'm guessing tomorrow, maybe Thursday. And the later in the week that it tested as support, the lower it will be. So if it doesn't test it till, let's say, Thursday, then it's going to test it somewhere around 19,100, which is quite a big, 19,300, which is quite a big drop from where it is right now. So, but it has to test it as support. I mean, it was resistance for so long. If it doesn't test it as support, you're not going to like that if you're looking at this from a technical analysis perspective. So that's one thing to note. The other thing I want to show you guys is something that I'm sure you probably have never seen unless if you like playing around with trading views, which is I do. But check this out. This is a 26-week chart. So I manually changed it to 26 weeks, which is half a year, kind of weird. So why did I do that? Because I wanted to kind of take a look at things from a different perspective and from a way that no one's talking about. And one thing that I noticed is that in the previous candle, so the 6-month candle, so the one that we're on right now still has 2 months and 8 days to go. But the previous candle, for the first time in history, there is basically a 26-week candle, so 6-month candle, that bearishly engulfed the previous one. Never happened before. Look at that. Didn't happen. It's never happened. Never happened ever before. And that started about 2 months ago, or I'm sorry, 4 months ago. So 4 months ago, June. So yeah, I mean, it kind of strengthens the case for stating that we're in a recession. I don't care what Biden and his administration state. I know that if you're looking at things from a payroll perspective, one could make the argument that we're not in a recession because the unemployment is not as high as it should be. But bottom line, this is a pretty scary thing to look at. And then if you look at the previous one that's already 4 months in, almost, we're 8 days away from it being 4 months in. It hasn't really done much. It's an inverted hammer. Not good. So, as far as long term, even though the excitement of today is huge, if we want to make that candle look even more beautiful, I mean, we can look at this from, I guess, a 2-hour perspective. Sorry, guys. We can make these candles look even better. I mean, today was a really big day, right? Look at that. That is just huge. Looks really nice. But at the end of the day, I'm still so bearish long term. It's just hard to become super bullish when you see something like this. Now, could we go ahead and keep this going? Yeah, absolutely. And can we, whoa, now this is looking pretty crazy, but how high can it go? I mean, it's hard to state. I think the 20,500 that we just saw is one point, and you're going to have your psychological factors, but I think anything all the way up to like 23K, 22.8 is definitely something that where it doesn't even say it gets to, I don't know, 22.5. All it did was paint a lower high than the previous high. So that's not great. So yeah, so I don't know, what's going to happen next. It's really hard to say. It's such a volatile week, but I still remain very bearish long term. Short term, I mean, you're flipping coins. We'll see what happens with earnings the rest of the week. I mean, Microsoft did okay, Google did not okay. So it just feels like we're at the casino. We're all gambling. But one thing that I am kind of gambling on right now is this right here, IMX. I opened up a short today. I'm down on it, but I still feel okay about it as long as things start to cool down. It looks like they are as far as the volume signatures. Looks like it had a crazy hour volume here, but it has slowed down quite a bit. The volume's decreasing a bit. Why did I decide to short Immutable X, I think it's called? I can't even remember the name of it. It's because of the fact that they are going to have a token unlock on November 5th. So it's coming right up. And what they're going to basically throw out into the supply to add to the circulating supply is more than the current circulating supply is worth. Just think about that for 1 second. Yeah, that is crazy, right? So obviously it's been hit pretty hard. If we go away from the 1 hour and maybe look at the 4 hour, you guys will see that it's been pretty much destroyed. So, getting in now, may not be the optimal point. Obviously, I wish I would have heard about that way up here, but I still think it has quite a bit of downside to go. And this is an asset that doesn't know the bottom. No one knows the bottom. Anyone that tells you that they know the bottom here, they're just lying to you, because these are it's never been down this low before, right? This asset has never been this low before. And so how can you tell what the bottom is if it's never really formed a bottom on a significant time scale? So there's no telling what the bottom will be for this asset. If we go and check out its circulating supply, you will see it is very low. I mean, so low. It's only at 12%. After the next token unlock, it's going to move up to 13 to 25%. Still incredibly low. So even though I'm down on my short, it's okay. I don't use a ton of leverage, so I have plenty of room where I'll be fine. Don't have to worry about being liquidated. I like to do my leverage trades and my shorts on Bitget. If you check out my links below the video, you can click on that, and I'm actually working with Bitget to where anyone that clicks on my link, they're actually going to get some free USDT starting later in the week. But you also get on top of that about $4,100 in rewards. So definitely check that out. Great way to support the channel. So what else did I want to take a look at? So Axie Infinity had a huge token lock yesterday, and it had quite the ride. Looks like a short squeeze happened. So something that I thought was really interesting with Axie is that roughly about 3 hours before the big token unlock that they had last night, it started to pump. So obviously it was a short squeeze. I'm going to guess that the The funding rate was super high on the short with the shorts, with the bears, and it created a beautiful short squeeze opportunity. I was kind of thinking that would happen. I just didn't think it would happen 3 hours before unlock. I thought it would happen after the unlock. So pretty interesting thing to note, something to keep in mind when it comes to November 5th with IMX. Definitely something to note that maybe it's time to get out of the short a few hours before the actual token unlock. So let's see where we're at here. We're almost at what, 57 cents with IMX as of right now. It will be very interesting to see how low it gets. But look, if Bitcoin's pumping, this is where it gets gambly, right? This is why I'm said we're all kind of gambling right now. Those are us that are kind of like trading right now. If Bitcoin keeps pumping, IMX is going to pump as well. I mean, it just is. So I kind of look back, and every day that Bitcoin pumped for the last, I went back 10 days. So 4 out of the last 10 days, Bitcoin had a green day versus a red day, 6 on the red. And for IMX, it was 3 out of 7. So there was some definite correlation there, obviously. But one thing that I didn't know is that when Bitcoin pumped, IMX pumped pretty well. But when Bitcoin dumped, IMX really dumped. So it still made IMX for those 10 days. It was still considerably lower versus Bitcoin, which I thought was pretty interesting. So just something to look at. I talked about Elrond just because their conference is 1st of November. When I first started telling you guys about it, it was at 55 cents. So it's up about 2 cents since then, despite Bitcoin actually being very volatile and all over the place. I'm currently not short on LunC. I wish I would have gotten here. I just didn't see it. I was away from the charts. But bottom line, LunC, it's starting to show a little bit of strength. I mean, this is, it's for a few days now. It's been kind of bottom down here. Friday the 21st, what's today, the 25th? That's going to be 5 days now where it hasn't created a lower low. And it's been a while since it did that. I mean, it's just been constantly. So, I mean, if we were to draw a trend line, I'm going to assume it's broken it. So there might be some strength on this asset right now. Yeah, it broke that trend. So LunC looking a little less flimsy than usual. It's something to keep an eye on. And Ethereum, of course, is just going to follow Bitcoin. Whatever Bitcoin does, Ethereum's going to do it, but it's going to do it in a more kind of volatile and crazy way, right? So it is on the 4 hour, all sorts of overbought. So yeah, I would expect Ethereum to have some downside in the next few hours. And Bitcoin, is it overbought on the 4 hour? Not even on the daily. Nope. Let's see if it's overbought on the 4 hour. Yes. So yeah, I mean, my guess, like I said earlier, I think we're gonna go back. We're gonna test what used to be resistance as support. It's just a matter of when. And it's, still relative. Even if it were to happen tomorrow, it would happen around, can't tell here, around 19,300. So that'll be interesting to see, which is a significant fall. But, it's been doing that so long, right, where it just goes nuts. I mean, let's look at all these different examples. Right here on October 3rd and 4th, and then it gave it right back. Then it had this huge candle on September 22nd, gave it right back. Then it had a really nice run where it went up 6 days in a row, starting September 7th, and then gave it all back and then some again. So let's just see if we see that, right? If we see that follow through, then oh my gosh, things are going to get really, really, really interesting. And like I said earlier, I think like 22.8 would probably be 22.8 to like 22.5 could be the really big next level of resistance. And then after that, I mean, well, there should definitely be some resistance at 21.25, just at 21,000 and 21,500, just psychological. But then things could get really interesting. So I have no idea what's going to happen short term. I am expecting, though, for it, if I had a guess, to go back and test this, and let's see what happens. If it cannot hold as support and gets back in here tomorrow or the day after, wow. I mean, look, guys, one thing that we've noticed this year when it comes to a bear market, any kind of bullish fake out as far as a breakout gets punished and gets punished severely. So let's see if this is a fake out, a bullish fake out. And if it is, Yeah, 17.5, testing 17.5, here we come again. But if not, then yeah, the conversation needs to be had if 22.8 is going to be the next big level of resistance. So like I said, there's lots of mystery all over the place, and it's just a fun, exciting time to track all this. All right, I hope that today's video helps, and I'll see you in the next one.